every college team would like to be peaking come March. So we've got our last game in February. We've been playing pretty well, but we've struggled with Tennessee as of late, and for a lot of reasons. But they're tough, physical, and they guard well. This year, their offensive rebounding rate's the best in the last 25 years of college basketball. So not only are they number one this year, they're number one in the last 25 years. So in order to beat them, you're going to have to try to keep them off the old boards. And we had Charles last game to help with the rebounding. We don't have him this game. I mean, it's going to have to be a real team effort from a lot of guys. We're going to need Aiden, Noah. We're also going to need our guards to get in there and help. We're going to need Taylor, London, Amari, Houston, everybody go down the list. I mean, Philon's had one game with 10 rebounds, and he participated in summer practice today. So, he's a guy that doesn't like to sit out, doesn't like to sit out practice or games. So he's chomping at the bit to get back. We'll see if Clark clears him to play, but he did participate in some practice today. So hopefully he responds well to it and he's able to go tomorrow. On the offensive end with Tennessee, Nate Ament's been really good. I feel like we helped get him going since he scored a season high 29 on us. He's averaged over 22 since then. We kind of got him going. He's kept going since then. He's super talented. He's good. They run a lot of stuff for him. We got to be a lot more ready than we were the first time for him. And we've got some options. None of them worked well last game. We didn't have Amari or Holloway last game. It'll help to have Amari, a little bit more size at the 3 spot to try to do something with him. And, we got it, whether it's more size, whether it's being more physical without fouling him, whether it's doubling him. I don't know. But we can't just sit there and watch him give us 29 like we did last game. So we've talked through some of that. On the offensive end, we're going to have to handle their physicality, take care of the ball, figure out ways to be able to attack the paint and still generate threes. They've been a team that's done a good job building out, taking away our threes, which is fine. We've had games where teams have done that and we've scored 70-plus points in the paint. But with them, they're so physical. They've been able to build out, take away threes, and not give you all the points in the paint. So we've got to do one or the other, if not a combination of both. We either got to generate great threes or we got to be able to score in the paint. So we can't go to the rim soft. If they're going to build out on all our shooters and leave the lane open, we got to be able to drive with some physicality, handle their physicality, and be able to score at the rim. So it'll be a good game for us. Great test to see where we're at. We've won on a pretty good winning streak, but haven't played anybody as physical as Tennessee in that streak. So we'll see where we're at.
This is kind of random, but there's been a couple of times this year where Houston has basically been in the coaching box with you, especially when y'all are on defense. Just kind of how much freedom do you give him to kind of almost be like a student coach at times?
Yeah. So out of anybody I've ever coached, and I've coached some really dedicated, smart, invested players since we've been here. That's part of why we've been able to win as much as we have. I don't think there's been anybody more into studying film, dedicated to the process of what it takes to win, learning basketball. I mean, he's like a sponge with a million questions. So I don't know that I'd say I give him a bunch of freedom. I think he just gets invested and he ends up there. Like he's trying to coach his teammates up. He's super invested in winning, and he's, you kind of see the assistants. They're supposed to technically be on the bench, but they're trying to get stops, and the referees kind of got to tell them, sit down. I think Houston's that invested in the team winning, whether he's on the floor or off the floor, and I think that's probably what you end up with. He definitely asks a lot of questions, so he's super invested on what's going on the floor when he's not on the floor.
You kind of touched on it in your opening, but just having Amari and Aiden in this game, how big is that? But especially with Amari going against Amen.
Yeah, I mean, Amari gives us another guy to try to guard him in with. Holloway, the ball was moving unbelievably great first half, really the first 28 minutes of the game against Mississippi State. I mean, 28 minutes into the game, we had 82 points. And I think a big part of that was the way that Holloway moved the ball. He had 10 assists. A lot of those came those first 28 minutes. It'll be great to have him back. He's been able to handle the physicality of some of these tough teams. You know, he's gotten stronger. He drives it with some physicality. So just giving us another handler on the floor that's a willing passer that wants to move the ball against their aggressive coverages, I think will really help us. You know, but while we do get Amari and Barron back, we don't have Charles this game, and we had him last game, and that's going to be a big hit because, you know, he gave us another big that was able to kind of allowed us to play two bigs against their bigs, and we didn't get destroyed as much as some other teams have on the glass. That's a real concern we have with this game is just our ability to rebound against these guys.
What do you most attribute just the struggles with Tennessee specifically to the last few years?
Their physicality. We're a team that's built a little more on skill, speed. You know, we play a lot of perimeter basketball. You know, they're a little bit more old school, if you will. You know, he's done a great job. I think since we've gotten here in the last 7 years, I think we've got the most SEC wins and they got the second most. So the two of us are right there. You know, 1 and 2 in this league in the last 7 years. So what they do works against a lot of teams. But, you know, we've come in and kind of spread the floor, attacked you off the dribble. Well, they've had elite defensive units, elite one-on-one defenders. Think of Ziegler for 4 years, Meshack. You don't just beat these guys off the dribble. And then, you know, they're just their physicality off the ball, blowing screens up. You know, they're tough, they're physical, they rebound. They kind of put two bigs right in the paint almost all the time. You know, we're playing more skilled 4, more skilled 5. So times it's been tough to guard them on that end, and just with their kind of smash mouth right down your throat, and we're a little bit more spread in the way we play on offense. You got to be able to create advantages, and we've had some difficulty creating the advantages with their physicality. So I thought we did a really good job up there last year. 2 years ago, we just got annihilated. It was embarrassing up there 2 years ago. Last year, I thought we outplayed them for 39 minutes, and then we're up 4, can't get the stop, can't get the rebound at the free throw line. A lot of stuff went wrong in the last minute there before Meshack threw in the 40-footer to win it. You know, and some of that stuff was on me, and I need to do a better job. And, you know, it's really made us focus on our situational coaching. Hopefully we're better prepared for that if it comes down to 1 or 2 possessions. But Rick does a great job. Got a lot of respect for the way he's done it there. They've won at a high level, as have we, and we got to be better handling their physicality tomorrow.
Yeah, on rebounding, no, you won't have Charles in this game, but I think he only had 3 in that first matchup. In terms of, and then I think Houston led everyone on your team in rebounds. Like who do you think needs to step up the most on the glass?
Our guards. Phylon, Amari's more than capable of, but we need him to really step it up. Phylon and Reitzel have both had double-digit rebounding games in their career. Holloway just had a 7-rebound game against Mississippi State. I mean, if he can get in there and scrap out, 5 or 6, be tremendous help. So, and then Taylor is back, getting healthy. Love his mindset right now. Like, absolutely love where his head's at. He's playing super hard. I mean, you saw him attack the rim, trying to finish with some physicality. I think he's got to go in there and really help us on the glass because he's got the athleticism, to go up and get him above the rim. And London can do the same. So, I think you can look at Aiden and Noah because there are 2 bigs and they're going to have to handle their tough physical 5s. The issue is they also have tough physical 4s. Nate Ament averages 2 boards a game. Boswell, they're 2 guards averaging almost 2 boards a game. It's like everybody. I mean, with the exception of, they send Gillespie back for the most part. Everybody else goes to the boards. So everybody's got to help rebound. Like you said, Houston's more than capable, and he's got to be really good for us again too.
Hey, Coach, I know you talked about physicality, but other than that, is there anything else that sticks out that gives you problem scoring on Tennessee?
Yeah, that's the biggest one. It's their ability to guard one-on-one in space. You know, they're not just giving you advantages. You can't just beat them. It's, again, they've had elite defenders one-on-one. They've also been able to switch and have bigs that can move and stay in front of your guy. I mean, we generate a lot of threes. We're coming off a game where we hit 16 threes in the first half. So you get into these games and teams that say, like, we got to take away the three. Well, probably the best way to take away threes is to switch every pick and roll and not bring a third guy in to help. And then you're not playing off closeouts and getting in rotations and that. So if you don't have bigs capable of switching, it's not a very good strategy. If you've got bigs that can move their feet, switch, which they've been able to have, it's been effective with us at times if we don't handle the physicality and the switching well. So I think it's their personnel, their physicality, their toughness, and then they have got no problem going to switching to try to eliminate, pulling a third guy into the pick and rolls, trying to just guard it there with 2-on-2.
Brooklyn Nets signed Grant Nelson to a 10-day deal today. I think he'd been averaging 11 and 6 in the G League. Can you just speak to his pro potential and trying to stick?
Yeah, somebody on staff, Adam, told me that this morning. I was super happy to hear it. It's a guy that I felt like if he'd have been healthy for 2 years here with us, would have got drafted. He's got great size and athleticism at 6'11" to be able to move like he moves. I mean, some of the poster dunks he had, the way he handled the ball, all that. He really needed to just get healthy and get his jump shot right when he was here. And the fact that he missed so much time in the off seasons dealing with all the health issues, I think really stunted his development in the 2 years he was here. But he was able to show a lot. And he's got great size. He's super athletic. He's tough. He's skilled. Hopefully he can stay healthy and really get his jumper down one off season to where he's a respectable, mid-30s to high-30s three-point shooter. Because if he can do that, I think he'll stick in the NBA a long time. So it'll be great. They got Clowney there already. I think he'll have a great opportunity. They're a young team that's trying to build. That hopefully they put him on the floor in these games during his 10-day contract, give him a chance to play against some pros, and I hope he shines. He's never afraid of the spotlight. I think the best games he ever had here were against the best teams we played. I mean, you look at what he did against Carolina and what he did against Kentucky last year. I mean, he stepped up in the biggest games every year, both years he was here, and hopefully he does the same thing when he gets in the games up there against those pros.
Yeah, just given the losing streak, do you still treat Tennessee as a faceless opponent?
No, I mean, they every year we've been here, they've caused us issues. So we get these guys. Our players are fully aware that we've lost 5 in a row. They're fully aware of what happened up there last year, and I've taken ownership for my share of what happened up there last year. They're fully aware that they beat us at home. We haven't lost very many home games in conference, period, really, since we've been here, and they handed us one this year. So our guys know, but at the same time we got a lot of respect for how they play and what they do, and I think we got to come in with a healthy amount of respect for them. But we got to try to win this game. I mean, there's a lot riding on this game. Depending on what happens in Arkansas, Florida, you're either going to be, all alone in second place, or if we can get a win, you're either going to be all alone in second place, or you're going to be one game out of first. If you take a loss, now you're in danger of losing a top 4 seed. So, we won't have a tiebreaker with Tennessee, who will be tied with us if we take a loss. So there's a lot riding on the SEC standings in this game here. They know that. They know what our struggles against Tennessee have been as well.